Welcome to my channel, My Reflections on Science. Today, we are going to discuss about megasporogenesis. But before we start it, we should know what is megasporangium and what is megasporophyll. So let's start with the structure which is mentioned over here. This is termed as carpel. This carpel is called as megasporophyll. This is called as megasporophyll, which is basically having three parts. The basic part, which is at the base, is called as ovary, which consists of ovule. Then this narrow tube-like structure is called as a style. And at the top, we are getting a stigma where pollen grains are settling down after pollination. So the process of formation of megaspore inside megasporangium is termed as megasporogenesis. So here this complete structure is megasporophyll. The ovule is called as megasporangium. Now megasporangium is the structure in which process of formation of megaspores takes place. We know that there are two types of carpel. One where the carpels are free from each other. In a multicarpellary ovary, if carpels are free from each other, then this condition is called as apocarpus, which is the primitive condition which we are getting in ranunculus and Michaela, as you can see over here. Second, when in multicarpellary ovary, all the carpels are fused with each other. Like suppose 5 carpels are there and these 5 carpels are fused in this condition. So we can say that we are having pentacarpellary syncarpus ovary. This is just a brief description about the types of carpel. Now we are proceeding with the actual topic of megasporogenesis. Here you can see this is the diagram of ovule, or which we call as megasporangium. Megasporangium diagram comes for 3 marks or 2 marks in the examination. So this is very important for exam. Let's start with the structure which is present in the megasporangium. The first structure which you can see over here is called as funicle, which is the stalk of the ovule with which it is actually attached to the ovary. Second, the point of connection between the body of ovule and the funicle is called as hilum. The opening, which you can see over here, the pore-like structure, this opening is called as micropyle, through which usually pollen tube enters inside. And the close end of the ovule is basically the head of the ovule is called as chalaza. Now, each ovule is covered with two integuments. In case of Anatropous ovule, you can see over here the outer covering is called as outer integument, whereas inner covering is called as inner integument. It is just a protective structure. Now, inside this ovule, a mass of, you can say, diploid cells is present, which is called as nucellus. This mass of diploid cells, where actually megasporogenesis takes place, is called as nucellus. Now, in nucellus, one cell will become larger in size and will initiate megasporogenesis, that we will discuss after some time. Now, basically, this structure which is present inside the ovule, which is 7-celled, 8-nucleated structure, how it is developed inside, that we will discuss in the development of female gametophyte. Inside this embryo sac, we can see 3 cells are present towards the micropylar end, which is together called as egg apparatus. It consists of 1 egg and 2 synergids. In the center, we can get these 2 small polar nuclei, which are haploid and covered by a single boundary and making the central cell. Whereas on the opposite side, means towards chalazal pole, we will be having 3 small structures which is termed as 3 antipodals. So let's have discussion how megasporogenesis takes place. This diagram we have to practice for exam. So as we discussed that in megasporogenesis, basically we are having this megasporangium. Now one cell of megasporangium becomes larger in size in the nucellus region, and that is termed as archisporial initial. Now let's say this cell is archisporial initial, which is developed from any nucellus cell and becoming archisporial initial, which will divide to produce two cells. The outer cell produced is primary parietal cell, and inner cell is called as primary sporogenous cell. As we have seen in microsporogenesis, similar structure is produced over here also, but here the primary parietal cell is making just two wall layers, which is termed as outer and inner integuments respectively. In microsporogenesis, if you remember, we have discussed that there was development of four wall layers. But here only two layers are developed, which are basically the covering of the ovule or megasporangium, and it is termed as integuments. Next, we have to focus here the most important point of megasporogenesis, where there is no division in the primary sporogenous mother cell, or you can say primary sporogenous cell. There is no change, it is directly converted to megaspore mother cell. So in case of microsporogenesis, if you remember, there was a division in the microspore mother, this one, primary sporogenous tissue, and then there was formation of many microspore mother cells and then reduction division. But here you can see we are simply having the conversion of this sporogenous cell to megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell is experiencing reduction division, as a result of which 4 megaspores are produced, out of which 3 will degenerate. Why 3 will degenerate? Because ultimately we just need one female structure over here, which is always one in human beings also as well as plants also. We just need one functional megaspore and rest 3 will degenerate. So with this, the megasporogenesis is over. So at the end of megasporogenesis, one megaspore mother cell is resulting only one megaspore. Then this megaspore will be making the female gametophyte later on. Hope it is clear to you. Let's have a brief description of this once again. In this structure of ovule, the cells of nucellus which are diploid in a structure, and these diploid cells are making the bulk of the nucellus or bulk of the megasporangium. One cell of nucellus becomes larger in size, is termed as archisporial initial, which after a simple division produces two cells, outer primary parietal cell, inner primary sporogenous cell. Primary parietal cell will divide to form two integuments, that is outer and inner, whereas primary sporogenous cell is directly converted to megaspore mother cell without any division. Now in this megaspore mother cell, there will be reduction division or meiosis. It is resulting in the 4 megaspores. But out of these 4 megaspores, only one remain functional and rest 3 degenerate. So you can see in the diagram when at the end of the meiosis, could be we are having this kind of a structure that 3 megaspores are degenerating and one will remain functional. So this we can see over here in NCERT book. It is mentioned also in this way that these are 3 degenerating megaspores and only one is functional. Let's see what happens with this functional megaspore. So we are proceeding with the next topic, that is development of female gametophyte.